says an MMA rant. This isn't so much about MMA rant. This is just going to be me talking about MMA. I know some of you don't care about MMA, so just turn off the video now, because that's just, hey, it says MMA rant. You don't want to watch an MMA rant, then don't watch the video. That said, let's get talking, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about when it comes to MMA, because I think the next year is going to be very interesting for MMA, and I think it all kind of revolves around, at least for the foreseeable future, around Randy Couture. Randy Couture, for those of you that do not know, and I'm sure almost all of you probably do, signed a 3-fight deal with UFC, ending his legal battle, and definitely postponing him and Fedor for the very foreseeable future, if that fight will ever happen at all. Now, his first fight back will be against Brock Lesnar, which will be a big money fight. Of course, this is the reason why they're doing this fight. This is going to be a huge, huge money fight. A lot of people have said, is Brock really ready for this? I don't think so. I would be shocked if Brock won, though I could see Brock winning, because I think if he just overpowers him, I definitely could see him winning. But I think Randy is smart enough and good enough, especially on the ground, to beat him. So I'm definitely say that. And then, of course, he would have to take on, I believe it's either me or Nog, after that. And if he could beat either of them, he's definitely going to take over. He would definitely take then on whoever he didn't face, either me or Nog. If he could beat all three of those guys, which that's much easier said than done. You're basically taking on, at least two of the best heavyweights in the world back to back. If he beats Lesnar, I think Lesnar just becomes a draw in the heavyweight division for UFC. But if he does that, if he goes on that kind of run, which would be an amazing run, make no mistake about that. I think he's definitely being set up to where there's no way he's going to definitely look good, other than he's going to make a lot of money in this first fight. And if he can win, he'll probably make a pretty good sum of money in the second fight. But the second fight I don't see being a big draw, because you're not taking on two guys. Either of those two guys are not big draws. But if he does do that and he runs the table, that leaves UFC in a very bad position, because for one thing, he can then leave. Couture could then leave and fight Fedor. Now, where would he fight Fedor? And that's the next kind of part of the equation. It's been pretty much reported. You've got three major companies. You've got Affliction, you have Elite XC, and you have Dream. All three of those promotions could put on this fight. Now, all three promotions have their own problems. Affliction's put on one pay-per-view. They lost a lot of money on the pay-per-view. Everyone knew they were going to lose money on the pay-per-view. Let's just get that out of the way. They knew they were going to lose money on the pay-per-view. The second pay-per-view, which is coming up, which definitely is not as star-studded, even though I think it does look good and it does have a few good fights on it. I would be shocked if it did even half. Well, I'd say do about half, actually, of the views that first one did, because it doesn't have Fedor. I think a lot of people turned in to watch Fedor. Also, you had UFC putting on a show the same night, which helped them out a lot. So you have all of that sort of thing going on. So this won't be as good of a show. If anything, I would say that this show, if they had a TV deal, and that is their biggest problem, is they don't have a TV deal, this would be the best show for that if they had a TV deal, for various reasons. Though I do expect there to be another fight added, probably on the 21st of this month, maybe the 22nd. I wouldn't be shocked if another fight was announced, and I would just put it that way. That said, so you have that. You have Elite XC. Everyone knows Elite XC is losing lots of money. If their next CBS show with Shamrock and Kimbo doesn't do a huge rating, they're probably dead and probably will not be around in 6 months. Most people are reporting that already, so there's a lot on this show, which really surprises me that they didn't put the two women we want to see fight on the show, and have it set up for some mythical pay-per-view down the line. I don't think they have that amount of time. I don't think they have that much time. I don't think they can do that. Hopefully they kind of learn their lesson from the last show, that they promoted a little better, and I do hope they add a little bit more glitz and glamour to it, as much as people don't want to hear that. I do think they need to add it, because I think that we'll never get to see if people liked it in the first show, because so few people turned into the second show. Was it because Kimbo wasn't on there? Was it because Gene wasn't on there? Was it because it wasn't promoted well enough? We don't know because they didn't put on a show similar to the second show, so we don't know. But I would guess it was, no Gina, no Kimbo, and no promotion of any way, shape, or form. And then we have Dream, and Dream, while is doing okay in Japan, their apparently TV ratings aren't quite as where they need to be, and K1 could easily pull out. And if K1 pulls out, that means that they will not have the support they need, and they would fold. So it's very possible. I would say some people say 6. I would say in 9 months, you would have, if any of these promotions can kind of wait out 9 months, you pretty much would have UFC and then another promotion. Which promotion that would be, I don't know. I would like it to be Affliction myself. I think they have kind of the right idea as far as what needs to happen, and hopefully they can get a TV deal. If they get a TV deal, I think they would be much more successful. Though, if Elite XC can get their act together and they were around, that would be good. If Dream did as well, that would be interesting too, because you would get to see a lot, I think, better fights, because a lot of the Japanese fighters that the UFC, either can't sign or won't sign, they could then get, and that sort of thing. So I would definitely say a very interesting time to be had by all, and it should be kind of fascinating. It would be kind of interesting to see where it all goes. But I definitely think that I definitely think UFC is going to make Randy run a very tough gauntlet to leave the company undefeated, and a lot of people will probably go, wow. By the time people realize what's going on if he goes undefeated, and the fact that he's going to have to fight a lot of guys um, back to back, I think that people aren't realizing that at the moment because they're just looking at Lesnar. But if you look a little farther down the line, I think you definitely can see that they're going to stack it against him, because it is definitely not in their best interest for him to leave the company undefeated on these 3 fights. Because if he does, you pretty much, if he goes through all the 3 main guys UFC has in their heavyweight division, and let's say he goes to Affliction, and Affliction still has all the talent they have now, basically, you're going to have the heavyweights and the top heavyweight division not be in UFC. And what that means is that you definitely have a company who can point to UFC and say, hey, we have something better than UFC. And also, if they slowly start to build up the other divisions by bringing in as many of the best guys they can from around the world that UFC does not have, then they can also say, hey, we have this division which is just as competitive, and this, that, and the other. Even if Affliction wasn't able to do it, and if Affliction went under, and then Elite XC was able to sign these guys, or Dream was able to sign these guys, and I think Dream wanted to sign a lot of these heavyweights. I saw an interview on, I think it was MMA Insider, I think is the name of it, a show with Boss Rutan, and they were talking to the Dream guys. You could tell the Dream guys were not happy that Affliction was around, because you could just see it, that they were like, they took the guys we were going to sign. They basically screwed us in a way, even though they weren't really screwing them. So, like I said, it'll be very interesting to see. I would definitely say, if you're an MMA fan, the next 6 months will probably be very interesting and a lot of fun from that aspect of it, as there's going to be a lot of stuff to follow, and those sort of things. So that's all I just wanted to come on and talk about. Not very long, so I'm out. Have a good one, and later.